want to introduce Vaijayanti Apte. It's nice of her to give a session, and especially on the topic that's very dear to all of us. She's Vaijayanti has many more years, like more than 40 years of experience in Ayurveda, both practicing Ayurveda and also teaching Ayurveda. And she has both allopathic and Ayurvedic background. Integrates sort of integrated course kind of studies in both these fields, and she also has a degree in master's in pharmacology. And I mean, it's certainly nice that with all her experience, she's going to share that with us. And with that introduction, and again, she's going to talk about something that's really important for in the current environment, which is some therapy related to Amla, about how to improve your immune system. And I might have made some mistakes, Vaijayanti. You can correct me if I did something wrong.
No.
And with all that, again, I will make sure that everyone else is muted. And during the presentation, I think it's okay if the video is on, but just make sure your audios are off. Okay. And if not, I will make sure that your audios are off. So with that, go ahead, Vaijayanti. Thank you.
Thank you. And just generally what I do, I talk for about 45-50 minutes, and then we will open for questions and answers, because that way also people get some kind of, they get educated even by answering their questions and all that. Okay. So let's begin with just a prayer. I want all of you to close your eyes and take a deep, long breath. With each inhalation, balloon the belly. Each exhalation, pull the belly in. And continue breathing. And observe your breath. Now observe your mind. And when the mind is holding on to the breath, it becomes more peaceful and calm and more tranquil. And in that peace, I'm going to chant the prayer of health. Sarve Sukhinas Santu. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhave. Om Shanti. 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 May all be happy. May all be healthy. May all see the reality behind life. May there be no pain or suffering in the universe. Let there be peace at the physical level, peace at emotional level, and peace at spiritual level. And keeping this peace within, gently open your eyes. And namaste everybody. I am Vaijayanti Apte. And today I'm going to talk about a different topic is because this is the decade of autoimmune diseases. So there is one unique concept in Ayurveda called Amla-Kshara Siddhant. So I'm going to talk about how that concept is utilized. We as Ayurvedic practitioners utilize that in taking care of such diseases. And before I begin, I want to just have one confession that I respect all the pathies. When I talk about Ayurveda, that doesn't mean that I disrespect it. I just want to show you how Ayurveda looks at these kind of conditions and what are the Ayurvedic concepts and all. So I'm going to share my presentation with you. And the name is Amla-Kshara Siddhant. And I will explain it to you in a few minutes about what that concept is and all that. But mainly when we chanted the prayers, let everybody be happy, everybody be healthy. And generally, we define our health or health in terms of absence of disease. But Ayurveda has a very different view about health. And Ayurveda mainly defines health as balancing all the three doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, having optimum agni, then having all the tissues, dhatus, 7 dhatus, all the tissues in the balanced state. All the elimination process is working at its optimum, and our senses are very sharp, our mind is very peaceful, and our thinking is very clear. And when we have all these things, we achieve health. And that's why it is very profound definition of health. And today I'm going to talk about one of those topics, agni, and how it helps to keep us healthy. So that's what mainly the Ayurvedic definition is. But today we are more into this in decade of autoimmune diseases. And autoimmune diseases have been increasing, and now there are more than 80 different autoimmune diseases are described and all. So what does our immune system mainly do? Our immune system is like our army. It protects us against the foreign invaders and destroys them and preserves our health. So all those foreign invaders are like viruses and bacteria and all. And in this COVID situation, especially, we know how important to ease our immune system and how important we keep that immune system very strong to fight against any of these new virus, bacteria, and all that. But in autoimmune diseases, what happens? Instead of attacking the foreign particles, body starts by mistake attacking our own cells and creates antibodies, and that's why our own cells are destroyed, causing more diseases. That is kind of, in short, the autoimmune disease is. And there are a variety of autoimmune diseases. There are these days, the number is increasing slowly, but surely there are more autoimmune diseases, and it could be of any system. It could be digestive system, as Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. It could be neuropathy. It could be related to lungs. It could be arthritis. It could be related to the brains and all those things. But unfortunately, nobody knows, and it can affect any part of the body, and no one knows yet why these autoimmune diseases happen. And there are different theories that it could be virus, it could be bacteria, it could be some chemicals in our foods or medicines, it could be immunoglobulins, it could be hormones, or there are so many different theories, but we don't know exactly the cause, or we also don't know exactly, there is no test exactly to find out that this is autoimmune disease. And the treatment is mainly to suppress autoimmune disease, suppress our immune system. But earlier I also mentioned that immune system also is very strong and we want to protect it. So let us see how Ayurveda looks at these autoimmune diseases and all that. So in Ayurvedic definition, I mentioned to you about, one minute, let me see if I can move these pictures a little bit. Importance is Agni, Samadosha, Samagnischa. So Agni, Ayurveda describes, is the element or it's the energy of transformation. Everything that comes in the body needs to be transformed. Even the food we eat need to be digested at multiple times, and then body is going to use that to build more tissues and all that. So there is a saying that you are what you eat, and it's so true. Even in yoga, we always say this physical body is Annamaya Kosha. And what is Annamaya Kosha? This body is developed by the food we eat. The fetus is grown by the food mother eats. Even the sperm and ovum are created from the food we eat. And since we are born, we keep till we are alive, we keep eating the food because food is the building block for our body. So it's really up to us what to put in that mouth, whether it's a processed food, junk food, canned food, or is it organically grown food, freshly prepared food and all that. Because we also say that as you sow, so you reap. So the kind of food we eat is going to have effect on our body. But Ayurveda goes even one step further, and Ayurveda says you are what you eat and what you digest, because that digestion is the key. Because you may be eating organically grown food, gourmet food, freshly food, but if your digestive system is not functioning properly, then it's not going to build more tissues on your body and some disease may occur. So digestion, the transformation is the key factor in our health. Even in Bhagavad Gita, we said that Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha. So I am the Vaishwanara, that is, I am the fire of the whole universe. And in our body, it is located around the navel. And that's where our Manipura chakra is located too. And Manipura chakra is very heating chakra. And that is related to the main digestion. So we have to protect that. If we want to keep us ourselves healthy, then we have to protect that Agni. Because Balam, Arogyam, Ayushcha, Pranaschagnav Pratishtitaha means our bala, our strength. Our strength depends on the strong muscles. How is body going to produce strong muscles from the food we eat unless it is transformed into the strong muscles? Your whole health, you need different types of tissues. You need muscles, you need blood, you need fluids, you need bones, you need nervous system and all that. So all these tissues are produced, but for that, the Agni has to digest all that food so well. So it will create the tissues at the optimum level and you will be healthy and you will have long life. So your prana, your life, your strength, everything depends on this Agni. And imagine, I feel so proud about all this, that all these saints have written all these Sanskrit verses 5,000 years ago. And still they are true even in today's world. And that Agni is so important that Shantegno Mriyate Yukte. If that Agni gets put off, we are almost dead. And Chiran Shivati Anamayaha. But if we keep that Agni at the optimum level, then it will help us to stay healthy and maintain our wellness, and we will be disease free. So you can imagine how important that Agni is and its level, we need to maintain it. Rogi syat vikrute moolam agni. What is the moola? What is the root of the vikruti? What is the root of the disease? Is weak agni. If that agni becomes weak, if that agni doesn't digest food well, then it causes the disease, and that's what we have to protect our agni. It is so important. This whole concept of agni element is so important that even in Ayurveda we call kaya chikitsa as the treatment of the disease, but kaya is the agni. So the whole treatment is related to this agni, and that's how important that this agni concept is. Then we have this agni. It's not only we have digestive enzymes only in our digestive systems, but Ayurveda describes this agni at different levels. So in the stomach, when we call about hydrochloric acid or pancreatic enzymes, liver enzymes, and all that, that in Ayurveda we call as a Jatara Agni. This is the physical Agni. But even at the cellular level, Ayurveda describes there are 7 Agnis. We have 7 dhatus, 7 tissues in the body. So they are called 7 Agni for each tissue, because body has to form these different tissues. And remember, we all are so different. That's why there is a uniqueness in all these dhatus. The rasa dhatu is the fluids in the body. Rakta dhatu is the red blood cells. Mamsa is the muscles. Meda is the fat. Asthi is the bone. Majja is the nervous tissue. And Shukra is our immune system and also reproductive system. So to get all these cells in the body, each dhatu has its own Agni. It's so important. And even there is Agni at the molecular level. So you can see how depth that concept of Agni goes, because there are 5 Bhutagnis and they work at the molecular level. Because remember, we all are, everything in this world is made up of Pancha Mahabhutas: earth, water, fire, air, and space, or the ether. And in Ayurveda, in Sanskrit, we call Prithvi, Apa, Teja, Vayu, and Akasha. So all these 5 elements, for 5 Mahabhutas, also have their own Agnis. So it is so important. So when generally we talk about digestion, we talk about only Jatara Agni. But along with Jatara Agni, these Bhutagnis convert the food Mahabhutas into human Mahabhutas. Remember, the vegetables you eat, it converts into our tissues. The meat you eat, or the fruits you eat, or the grains you eat, they need to be converted to our Mahabhutas, and that is the function of these Bhutagnis. And then from those Mahabhutas, from those building blocks, body is building these different tissues. I here mentioned Rasa, Rakta, Mamsa, Meda, Asthi, Majja, Shukra. So along with the Bhutagnis, these Dhatu Agnis build all these tissues. And remember, that's how this continuously happening every day. Some of the old cells are dying and new cells are created. So body uses that food as a building block, but all this Agni element, Agni concept is building, although digest that food and also builds tissues on our body to maintain our health. It is so important, and that's why our effort has to keep this Agni at the optimum level. Because why it is so important? You can just imagine when you're cooking something on very low heat, that food will not get digested well, right? So it will stay undigested. And if you still keep it on the kitchen counter, it will ferment. It will produce gas. It will become so sticky, heavy, and your whole house will stink. And that's exactly happens in our digestive system. If that Agni becomes weak, then food doesn't get digested well. And it just sits in the stomach and it ferments. It becomes sticky, heavy, cloggy. It smells bad. And Ayurveda just gives that name as a Ama-Visha. It's almost like a poison. It's like a toxin. Apachamanam shuktatvam yati annam vishatam chatat. This is all written 5,000 years ago. Undigested food really becomes very sour, very smelly, very cloggy, sticky, and it becomes almost like a poison toxin to the system. And when this agni becomes weak for prolonged period of time, you can imagine what is going to happen. It doesn't digest even simple foods. It becomes very, very weak. I just have this picture of here that idli batter. And when we ferment that idli batter, but at right time, we use it to make idlis or dosas or something. But if you just ignore that and if you let it ferment, your whole house will stink. That flour, that batter will overflow and it will become very gassy, bubbly, sticky and all that. And that's exactly happens in our digestive system. And that's why it causes more Ama-Visha, and that Ama-Visha starts circulating in the body. Again, one Ayurvedic important concept, it is called Srotomayam hi Shariram. You know, our whole body is like a channel system. Think about like highways. As long as highways are free, all the cars can move freely. But the moment any channel is blocked, then there is an imbalance. Whole body, and that's why when the channel is blocked because of Ama, then the cells beyond that blockage, they do not get nourishment. They do not get blood. They do not get oxygen. All the waste are accumulated in the cells and tissues. They are not removed from them. And that is the beginning of the disease. And that's why this Ama or Ama-Visha is causing lot of issues. So here we all know this is kind of the blockage buildup of cholesterol because of cholesterol. And you can see the lumen of the artery becomes so low in this bottom picture compared to the top one is kind of the artery is, there is no blockage. So in Ayurveda, that high cholesterol is also Ama. High blood sugar is also Ama. Anything that is going to block any channels in the body that works like a Ama. And because of that blockage, yatra sangakha vaigunyat vyadhi tatra upajayate. Whenever there is kind of the blockage or the weakness of the tissues, that's where the disease process start happening. And as I mentioned to you, whichever system it gets blocked, there has to be the weakness in the system. So these toxins lodge there and they cause the disease, and it could be a variety of diseases. Now you may ask me why this agni becomes very weak if that agni is so important. And we are all the culprit to make agni very weak. And imagine if you have a fire, and what will happen if you pour cold water on that agni? That agni will get put off. If you put very heavy foods on that agni will be weak because of that. If you are eating very cold and cheesy, heavy foods, fried foods, all those, the agni is going to become weak. If you are going to constantly munch, agni is going to go weak because the food doesn't get digested well. And what happens? If it doesn't digest well, it's going to sit in your system. It is going to become sour. It will ferment and it will become Ama-Visha. Again, all these verses are in Charaka Samhita and all written 5,000 years ago, and that is even today. Ajirana means when we are not hungry, we end up eating. And a lot of people, when I ask them, do you notice the hunger? And they say, what is hunger? We never feel hungry because we are constantly eating food. Ati bhojanat, eating excessively. Think about all the portion sizes we get here. Vishamashana, mixing different foods together, wrong combinations like sour fruits and milk and fish and milk and yogurt and all those different combinations really destroy the nutrients in the food and causes again as a toxin. Then very heavy foods. If you are just eating, look at this girl eating like 2 scoops of ice cream, or look at this guy on the right side, just he has so much food and is just sitting being a couch potato and all that. So heavy foods, cold foods, constantly drinking ice cold water, ice cold juices, liquids, or eating very dry food, thinking the fat is so bad for the body. So very dry foods, all these is kind of makes your agni very weak. Sitting in one position, that is being a couch potato, sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercise, sleeping during daytime, these all are the causes of making our agni weak. So don't you think that we are the culprit to have all these kind of diseases? Because most of the time our eating pattern is like this. And let me tell you exactly the opposite example, that these days a lot of people are doing intermittent fasting and they are eating only 2 meals a day, and they're losing weight. Their blood sugar is coming within normal limits. Their energy level is high. Their mental focus and concentration is improved and all. And why? Because by eating only 2 meals a day, they are keeping their agni very strong. Their agni doesn't become weak. So there is no toxin, no amavisha, and it is helping them. So all these like excessive eating, eating very cold foods, eating very heavy foods, lack of exercise, being couch potato, sleeping during daytime, these are all the causes of making agni weak. So now is the typical unique Siddhant, or the concept is Amla-Kshara Siddhant. In Ayurveda, there is one section called Madate, that is chronic alcoholism. So there is one verse, Ksharohi yati madhuryam shigram amlopasavita. And that means when excess amlata affects all dhatus and sotas, so the herbs used, so kshara and amla, amlata and ksharata, when you mix together, it becomes neutral. So when there is excessive ama in the body or amlata in the body, you need to use more kshara herbs, more pachak herbs, and they will digest, you keep your agni very strong, digest food very well, and take care of those kind of diseases. And you know, there is only one line, but that's the beauty about Ayurvedic text is from one line, we can write like maybe 300-400 page long book. It's all those concepts or these verses are so profound. So there is one Dr. Vaijayanti Shastri, and he said, this concept is not only for alcoholism, because in alcoholism, the body becomes very sour, it becomes amla. So they recommended us to use different kshara dravyas. But Vaijayanti Shastri said that this concept you can use in many diseases, and that we see in our practice is more and more useful in treating even autoimmune diseases, this Amla-Kshara, and that is even happening in our body. Remember, we see this in the lab, that in this beaker there is hydrochloric acid solution, and in that pipette there is a sodium hydroxide liquid, and when you add acid and alkali together, at certain point it becomes neutral. So this is the neutralized solution. Just to give us the idea, it has some red indicator in it, but you can see that at certain amount of alkali and acid, it becomes neutral. And in the body, exactly the same thing is happening. So our digestive system is almost like a science lab. So think about this, especially in the stomach, what happens? There is one pitta, that agni. In Ayurveda, certain pitta we call ranjaka pitta, that is hydrochloric acid. And there is also the clay, the kakafa, bicarbonate liquids. and we drink some liquids and all. So the function of this hydrochloric acid and this Kledaka kapha is to bring that food into semi-solid, semi-liquid state. Because even when we eat, how many times do we chew the food? Maybe 2, 3, or 5. So that food has in the stomach different consistency, different temperature, and all that. So that needs to be made uniform. Then only this pyloric sphincter will open and food will pass to the small intestine. But if that doesn't happen, if just food sits in the stomach, doesn't get digested well, doesn't come to right temperature and all that, because we are drinking so much cold water, heavy foods, we munch a lot, so constantly food is coming here, so this pitta becomes weak. And what happens? The food stays in the stomach and then it ferments. Lot of people these days, millions of people complain about acid reflux and all. So Ayurvedically, acid reflux is because of excess ama or excess amlata in the stomach, and then they get sour belching, they feel a little bit heartburn, and sometimes they feel like nauseous, sometimes they feel like throwing up, and all these kind of things. So unless this Ranjaka Pitta functions better, body is going to stay more sour, and lot of ama, undigested food, is going to pass through your small intestine little later. But when it comes here, and here in small intestine is the pitta, we call that as a pachaka pitta, that is also agni, but that agni is very, very fiery, like a kshara, very strong in nature. So if that also becomes weak because of all this kind of amlata in the system, this also becomes weak. So the final product becomes again very sour, becomes very sticky, becomes very heavy. So the digestion process does not happen well. If you're eating right, if your hydrochloric acid or Ranjaka Pitta is digesting food at right way, then food is going to pass here, and allopathically your pancreatic enzymes, liver enzymes, and bile and all are going to digest food well. Ayurvedically, Ranjaka Pitta digests well in stomach. It kind of works in Pachaka Pitta, which is very fiery, it digests food well. So Amla-Kshara and the nutrients become very, very neutral, and body is going to build all the tissues. But if that process is not functioning well, then the whole body, everything starts kind of spreading around, and it will be more amla, it will have more ama. And that's what our Amla-Kshara Siddhant, to work more. If amlata is more, we need to use more kshara herbs. If there is lot of heat, sometimes bleeding conditions, people come with like chefs and cooks, they complain about lot of body heat, then we use some amla herb. So that has to be balanced equally to keep your tissues in the healthy state. Okay. In the same Amla-Kshara Siddhanta, we also use in our daily life. And like sprinkle, if the fruits are very sour, then to change the taste, we sprinkle a pinch of salt on that fruit. So it becomes kind of the sweet. Even in India, at the end of the meal, we mix rice and buttermilk. But that if the buttermilk is sour, to make it neutral, what we do, we add a pinch of salt. If we want to clean the brass or the copper pots, what do we use? Tamarind and salt, amla and kshara, and it becomes very, very clean. So it is neutral. Same way, even why you may question that why people in southern India eat very idlis and dosas, very fermented food, because all southern India is surrounded by ocean water. And that's why the weather also is very salty. And to balance that excessive saltiness in the weather, they eat sour foods. So it is also very important that what area of the country or you are in, all the foods and customs and everything is according to the weather to neutralize it. So we use these kind of concepts very often, and Ayurveda use the same concept to treat different diseases, and especially these days, even autoimmune diseases. So in many autoimmune diseases are caused because of increased amlata, because increased ama, and the cause of that is agni is very, very weak. So somehow we need to improve that agni. So we use different kshara herbs, and these kshara herbs are very heating herbs, and they take care of this ama or amlata in the system. So amlata is balanced by kshara to take care of such diseases. And we as Ayurvedic practitioners, we use many of different herbs. And here are some examples is like ginger or herb called gugulu or ananta, aghada and all that. But here in my presentation, I have also given you some kind of herbs you can use every day. Is 3-katu, and 3-katu means 3 pungent. And we use that very often is ginger root or dry ginger powder or fresh ginger root. We also use black pepper, and there is another herb called pipali. It is ganthoda. It's called in Gujarati. So this combination, equal part of ginger, black pepper, and pipali. And these days, pipali, you will also get it in Indian grocery store. Even on Amazon, that is available. Even in Whole Foods, sometimes you get pipali. It has become that common. So equal combination of all the ginger, black pepper, and pipali. If you use it 1/4 teaspoon after your meals with honey, and that will really strengthen your agni and take care of ama and amlata. Even let me tell you, my one of my relative had severe heartburn, and she always complained that eating ginger does not bother me, but eating tomatoes immediately causes me the problem, because tomatoes are very sour. They increase amlata in her system. So drinking ginger water or ginger and lemon water and all, that neutralizes it, and that's why ginger is helpful even in many heartburn conditions. So mix of ginger, lemon juice, pinch of salt. I have shown you the ginger digestion, and this is my favorite. You grate a piece of ginger, squeeze lemon juice, because lemon is alkaline. Though it is sour, it is alkaline. You put pinch of salt and little bit of brown sugar, and that liquid becomes little kind of little thick liquidy. But that will improve your digestion like anything, and will take care of all the ama in the system. So you can take 1/4 to 1/2 of the teaspoon of this juice before your meals. This is excellent to take care of ama. Even the pinch of ajwan seeds. Many of us, we know that ajwan seeds, very tiny, but very heating and very potent. Again, that heat in it just takes care of that excess ama in our system, and that works well. So you can see many of these spices or herbs I'm showing you, they are very heating, and that's what they improve our digestion, they strengthen our agni, and they help us tremendously in many conditions. There are so many other herbs also. And again, why I mentioned these, because these are available in Indian grocery store also, like giloy. Its Marathi name is Gulvel, Ayurvedic name is Guduchi, and its another name is called Amruta. And Amruta is like a nectar. It is the immune boosting system herb. It is good for diabetes. It is good for liver. You name it, and giloy is good for that. So if you use giloy 1/4 teaspoon every day, that will help you tremendously to take care of ama in your system. Then neem. We all Indian people know neem very well. Neem is the most bitter kind of the herb, but it is very potent. We natural antibiotic, wound healing, blood cleansing, you name it, And neem also has those qualities, or aloe also is excellent. These all, many are very bitter herbs, but they help tremendously in taking care of ama. And I'm telling you, mainly treating autoimmune diseases Ayurvedically, you need more Kshara herbs or take care of ama or amlata in the system. And definitely these herbs which are available readily, you can use those. Then the third herb is called vidanga, or in Marathi we call vauding. That is also excellent to improve your digestion. It is excellent in skin conditions and all that. In India, in old days, they used to boil like 4 or 5 seeds of vidanga in milk and feed it to the children, and they will never get cold or congestion or anything. It improves your digestion, it strengthens your agni, and takes care of ama. One more herb you will know is moringa, and moringa has become very, very popular these days because of its vitamin mineral content, but Ayurvedically it is mainly amapachaka. It digests ama, strengthens your agni. So you can use moringa leaves to make sabji. You can use these moringa drumsticks to put in your dal or sambar and all that. Or you can take some moringa seeds, or moringa powder also is available in these days in many stores. So you can use that powder, half a teaspoon every day and all that. So these are some of the very simple herbs and spices, but they help you tremendously. Literally, they cost pennies, but their effect is maybe in hundreds of dollars and all that. They will help you tremendously. But then you will ask me the question that how would we know if we have ama in our system? So I have a questionnaire here. So whether I feel constipated, gassy, bloated, or in the morning I feel very groggy, I don't feel energetic in the morning, or I get very cold several times a year, I feel very fatigued, or I have too much saliva in my mouth, or my tongue is very white and coated, I don't have that good taste in my mouth. So here is a questionnaire. You can just go back and open this and do it and score yourself and see how much ama you may have. And if you do, then definitely you can use some of these herbal combinations, or you can use some of these. And another thing is all these herbs are immuno boosters. So if you want to strengthen your immune system, they will help. But Ayurveda has a different way of strengthening your immune system. We are taking care of agni. We are strengthening that agni. And when the agni is very strong, then definitely it is going to digest food well. It is going to build all the tissues. And the most subtle tissue is your immune system. And it will also strengthen your immune system. And that will help you to prevent or to fight against any infection. So here are some of the Ayurvedic guidelines about diet and lifestyle. And eat only 3 meals a day and zip your lips in between. This is my very favorite thing. Eat only 3 meals a day and zip your lips in between, because when you eat food, it takes 5 to 6 hours to pass through your whole digestive system. So if you eat anything in between, then the food is going to sit in your stomach. It doesn't get digested, but slowly but surely, it will start creating ama in your system. But if you eat, you suppose breakfast in the morning around 7 or 8 a.m., then around lunch to noon to 1, so that is again 5 to 6 hours in between. And if you eat lunch around noon to 1, then dinner to 6 to 7, again there are 5-6 hours in between. So the food is digested well and you feel hungry, your agni becomes very strong, and it will not create ama in your system. Then avoid cold liquids and foods. Always remember that when we eat food think about when we grew up in India, the food was always warm. it was freshly made and all that. So avoid cold liquids, ice cold water. If you ask me, Dr. Apte, tell me one thing what I should do health-wise, I will tell you, stay away from ice, because that kills your agni, that weakens your agni. If the agni gets put off, your body is susceptible to many of the diseases and all that. So avoid cold liquids and foods. Then limit heavy fried sour foods, because again, they are going to make your agni is very light. So that is going to, agni gets puts off because of that. Then stop munching. And literally, we end up eating six times, 8 times, 10 times, and all that. So all that is causing more ama in our system, and that is the beginning of the disease. So stop munching. Exercise every day, 45 minutes, at least 4 or 5 days a week. And why exercise? Because body uses all these food as an energy, and you feel hungry. You feel more energetic. And when you eat, body is digesting food well, and it creates good tissues, and you feel stronger and more energetic. Then in yoga, many of you are into yoga and pranayam and all that. So Kapalabhati pranayam, Bhastrika pranayam is very, very important. And that really is your Jathara Agni, or that strengthens your Pachaka Pitta, or the main Agni, and it improves your digestion and keeps you in the healthy state. And live mindfully. It is very important. If you want to do anything, you have to do mindfully. Eat mindfully, work mindfully, rest mindfully, play mindfully, whatever you are doing. That's yoga means not only asanas, it's Ashtanga yoga, is pranayama, meditations, and all that. So you have to apply that in your daily routine, and that's achieve the benefits from all these practices. So what I want to kind of remind you that Ayurvedically, Amavisha, or the Amla is the cause of many autoimmune diseases. And why is Amavisha produced? Weak Agni causes Amavisha. So you need to strengthen Agni. So wrong diet and lifestyle makes Agni very weak. And I gave you the tips. And you can prevent many diseases by keeping your Agni at the optimum state. And that's what again in Charak Samhita it is written, Tasmat Agnim Sada Rakshe. So your effort constantly has to be to keep your Agni in the optimum state. So this is what I just wanted to explain it to you, why it is important to keep this Agni strong, because it improves your digestion, and how our eating and lifestyle habits will help to keep this Agni at the optimum stage, so we can prevent most of the diseases and we can live healthy, long life. And if you want to just more information or get hold of me, here is my information, my phone number and my email. And now what I'm going to do is stop sharing this presentation. Okay. So I hope you learned something new today, and which you will be able to use it in your practice. And now I will just look into some of the questions.
Thank you very much, Vaijayanti.
Thank you. So what does our Mahabhutas mean? Is there a difference between Mahabhutas within the body versus outside the body? Remember, this whole universe is made up of 5 basic elements, and we call those as Mahabhutas. Earth, fire, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, or the space. These are the basic Mahabhutas. Anything within the body, anything outside the body, anything that is natural is made up of Panchamahabhutas. And those Panchamahabhutas are same everywhere, but their forms are different. But finally, it is made up of same Panchamahabhutas. It's the same.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes. 1 minute. Let me just finish these questions and I will answer your question. Consume of these herbs, all of it, and how long? Okay. Meena, the answer is that depends how much ama do you have. If you have a lot of ama, then you may have to use it for long period of time. But if you want to use it as a preventative, then you can use some of those or even one of those. Ayurvedically, it's less is better. It's never more the better. It's less is better. But depending on every individual's condition is different. So it is very difficult for me to explain it to you that how much or all of it or only one. What are your thoughts on churnas such as Triphala, Hingashta, etc.? Can they be effective in balancing doshas? Definitely. Ayurvedically, I also mentioned to you that definition of, 1 minute, let me just move. Definition of health is also samadosha, samagnishya, samadhatu, malakriyaha. So all the waste needs to remove in the optimum state. So bowel movement, urination, sweating, everything has to be in the right proportion. And for that, Triphala Churna is an excellent herb. It is not only laxative, but we call that as it is a rasayana to the system. So it is like a tonic for all the system. So you can take half teaspoon of Triphala Churna every night, especially people who get constipated a little or they complain about gas, bloating. Definitely they can take Triphala Churna. And the Hingashtak Churna or Lavan Bhaskar Churna, these are the excellent churnas. And they are kind of the Agni Deepana, they strengthen your Agni, they digest all those ama. If you really complain about bloating and all, make a practice of taking Hingashtak Churna with half teaspoon ghee, half teaspoon Churna, half teaspoon ghee, and take it before your dinner, and then finish your dinner. And you will see excellent results with those kind of churnas. Then do you have to quit even a cup or two of tea or coffee? No, you don't have to stop. I am a doctor of moderation. If you drink 1 or 2 cups tea or coffee, it's okay. But as long as it's not ice cold, it's good. You can drink hot tea, but stay away from ice cold tea or ice in general. That is kind of my message to you all. Okay, now the list is over. Now anybody if has question, I will be glad to answer.
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
You know, if somebody has early stages of rheumatoid arthritis, I am a physician. I am a physician myself. I am a pathologist.
Yes.
Have been practicing for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has looks like early stages of rheumatoid arthritis and has a family history a generation before. So will this kind of treatment help that person?
Yeah, it definitely will help, because these days it is also the epigenetics. Epigenetics is kind of explains us that if we change our diet and lifestyle, that will even kind of change your genetic kind of pattern. And that's what definitely it will heal. And it is very important to get the history of diet and lifestyle of that person. And definitely you will see the signs of ama. In my practice, I have treated so many rheumatoid arthritis patients with this theory, and they have helped a lot.
Yeah. And also these days, the retroperitoneal fibrosis is also considered an autoimmune disease. Now, will those patients be helped? Because that is a difficult disease to diagnose, because the biopsy is so very difficult to do on those patients. And whenever these surgeons try to do a biopsy, the tissue is so small because of all these vital organs that are surrounding that tissue, that many times we pathologists are not able to give them a definitive diagnosis, but they do have the symptoms from it, like some type of obstruction somewhere or something. So will those people be helped with this type of treatment?
Generally, chronic the disease, deeper is the pathology. Many tissues are affected, and that's why it will take long time, or it may be very, very chronic. But if it is in the early stages, then definitely, and that's what, as an Ayurvedic practitioner, taking a detailed history, because many times the cause of the disease is in the wrong diet and lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you get the detailed history, definitely you will see the cause, and then you correlate that and you explain that person to change the diet. And again, as Ayurvedic, we do according to the Prakriti. I hope you know the doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Every individual has a unique Prakriti. And when we recommend that Prakriti specific diet and tell them to avoid the wrong things Ayurvedically, then they start seeing the results.
Right. Because, you know, some of these things, I grew up in India, so I understand the Ayurvedic concepts because I heard them before. But somebody who grew up here in the United States, those children who are adults now, but it's difficult for them to understand those things, and it becomes difficult to explain it also in that situation.
It is true, and that's why more education is very critical. Okay, because they hear only one side of the story. They don't hear the other sides of the story. But slowly but surely, the changes are happening. People are more interested in this integrative health and all that. So they are more interested, and they ask, because I also see many young clients also, and they ask me, and I explain more than thing. I explain them about Ayurvedic basics and why you need to change. And once they understand why they need to change, they do it.
Yeah. Some time ago, I read an article. It was written by an American. She was not a physician, but I don't know what was her specialty. But she talked about something similar to Ama. She said when people are munching all day long, they are not digesting the food, and that undigested food passes through your GI system, and then it creates the problem. And she had close to this Ama concept. But I don't know how many people, she was not a physician. So, you know, there is not that stamp of approval when you have a medical degree.
Yes,
I don't know how many people, you know, listen to her talk, because many people also say that if you eat several small meals, you lose weight. You know, there are that concept going on here also.
Yes, small frequent meals, but it never works. Because I just give you an analogy. I tell people, when you do the laundry, you put all the dirty laundry, detergent and water, and don't open the lid till it goes through all the cycles of washing. You don't put your laundry every 5 or 10 minutes. Same thing, once you eat anything, till next 5-6 hours, just don't open your mouth. Don't put anything. So it will go through all the stages of digestion and it will work better.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that's why the education is the must, and the whole idea about offering this seminar, and I offer a lot of seminars to senior people. The idea is to educate people and to take the word around.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
I have.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
My name is Sheila Rajan. I'm also a pathologist. I think pathologists are having all these problems.
Can I just interrupt you, Sheila, for just 1 second?
Yes.
I have personally, I had to stop at 9:15, but I will make Vaijayanti host, so that way, you know, you can continue the discussion, you know, whatever, you know, but I will stop at 9:15.
Okay.
Charuta, I can be there.
Yeah, okay. So I will make Charuta, I will make you host.
Sure. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. I am also a pathologist, and I also studied Chinese medicine. And the concept is same. I think if what you're saying is Manipura Chakra having the agni, we say it is Mingmen fire.
Yes.
That is the Mingmen fire, and the Jataragni, everything Agni is chi. You call it a stomach chi, spleen chi, liver chi,
Yes.
and all.
Yes.
And you talked about mindfulness in eating and things, and that is where the emotion, because the emotion has a very prominent part in the lifestyle system. That's why the meditation and the other things will help, because the emotion disrupts the whole mechanism. I have only one question. I have a person who has loss of voice. Can you please tell me if there is anything Ayurvedic way you can do?
Lack of voice?
No, loss.
Loss of voice. Complete loss of voice.
Yeah, she's in the sense she's a musician and she cannot sing well. Now she has a lot of problem starting the conversation. After some time, her voice will come, but she has a lot of. It looks as though she has a choking sensation. What you call it as something sticking in the throat.
So
one question, one comment I have is, that's a very deep, Sheila, I know what you're talking about. And Vaijayanti, if you're available, we can sometime have a session with the person that has that's an excellent singer, but lost the voice. And we can have a, kind of a Zoom meeting with Sheila, that person.
Sure.
And
Sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Medha Joshi.
Yes.
And I have a quick question for you, please.
Sure.
That what is a good time to have dinner at night?
It should be around like 6 to 7 p.m.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. There has to be like 3 hours between you eat and go to bed. And bedtime should be around like 10 o'clock, 10 to 6.
Okay.
So eating dinner around 6, 7 is perfect. So kind of the main stages of digestion are over by the time you go to bed. So in the morning, you feel refreshed. A lot of people eat dinner at 9 or 10 o'clock and they wake up with a lot of congestion and mucus buildup and all. So if the food doesn't get digested, then all these things happen.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all the useful information you gave us.
Thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
Yeah, please. Thank you for all information. Very useful and very nicely delivered.
Thank you.
My question is, I have sweet tooth. So, what does Ayurveda say about intake of sugar and other things, and what is the effect on health?
Okay, that depends on how much sugary foods you eat.
Okay.
When you are going to eat too many sugary foods, will also ferment in your system. Okay, but if you are sweet tooth and if you are eating like a small piece of sweet every day, then it's not that bad, because based on, there are 6 tastes in the food, and based on each prakriti and all, generally pitta people say I have a sweet tooth and I have to have one small sweet, and that's okay. It balances pitta dosha. But if you go overboard, that is going to cause you the problem.
Okay. So what is, okay. So eating little of just balancing.
Yes, little bit is okay. It's not bad. Yeah.
And what about our food has a lot of ghee? So what is about that?
Okay,
is it
again,
useful, not useful?
Remember, ghee is a most pure form of fat, and fat is also essential for the body. There was like last year or so, there was a Time magazine and the cover was Eat Butter. And even cardiologists are also saying that even for heart health, good quality of fat in the right amount is very needed, not only useful, but needed. So we recommend only 2 teaspoons of ghee every day, not like a bowl full or something. But that much ghee is essential for the body because all the skin inside and outside is made up of fat. There are fat soluble vitamins. Fat lubricates our whole system and all that. So it is very essential. Okay. So some ghee, like top your food with ghee or just spread it on your chapati and all. It's a good habit and that is necessary for the body.
That is very. Then one or two questions I already asked in that. What about doctors recommend glass of wine, red wine once a day? Now, does Ayurveda just prohibits it? Or is
If
it
you have
method?
like one glass, you don't have to have it. But if you have just one glass and just kind of that's it, then it's okay.
So it doesn't affect the health? Does
Pardon
it?
me?
Is Ayurveda against it? Does it affect the health?
No, Ayurveda is not against it. Even in Ayurveda, there are some of the wines we use, like Draksha serve and many asavas and arishtas, which are fermented. They are also useful for the body, but in the right amount,
Oh, okay. Okay.
not excessively.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I have asked question about running nose.
Uh-huh.
While I'm eating, I do eat according to your restrictions or whatever the timetable,
Okay.
and I do eat warm food and not too spicy, mildly spicy. Why do
Okay.
I get running nose while
Runny
eating?
nose, that means you, for some reason, you have excess kapha in your system. And that kapha kind of causes you runny nose, watery eyes and all that. So I mentioned to you about ginger. So if you boil 2-3 cloves, 2-3 peppercorns, 1 stick of cinnamon in a glass of water and add 1/4 teaspoon of ginger powder and boil it for a few minutes, then strain it and drink that with honey every day. It will take care of all your runny nose and all.
I do drink that. I don't drink regular tea.
Okay, then just give me a call. I showed you my list,
Okay.
slide.
Okay.
Then we'll talk one-on-one.
Okay. Will do.
Ma'am,
Thanks.
I had a question
Yeah.
regarding turmeric. How good it is for rheumatoid arthritis and the other autoimmune diseases.
Yes, turmeric is, you name it, and turmeric has that medicinal quality. And that's why our Indian or Chinese food also, that becomes part of our daily spices, So turmeric is excellent for that. Maximum 1 teaspoon of turmeric per day if you take it. That is better.
No, but they have the capsules these days,
You can the
So,
capsules is
for
500
tonight.
milligrams. So if you take like 3 or 4 capsules in a day, that is good. But I would recommend you also get fresh turmeric in Indian stores these days. So instead of buying capsules and all, spending like 50-100 bucks, you can use the fresh turmeric, add more turmeric in your food and all, but make sure it is turmeric and not the yellow powder.
Not the yellow powder, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Apte, my name is Dilip Thatte.
Yes.
I have a question. You said that the cold water can slow down the agni.
Yes.
Is the reverse also true? Like drinking some hot water or warm water in the night or in the morning, will that help?
That definitely helps. Always Ayurveda recommends drinking lukewarm water because that warmness in the water is also kind of strengthens your agni. Second thing also, I recommend people to drink maybe 6 to 8 max glasses of water. But these days, sometimes we always say the more the water, better it is. But if you drink like 12 glasses, 16 glasses, like 3 or 4 liters of water every day and ice cold on top of it, definitely is going to put off your agni. But if you sip that water in lukewarm water, definitely it will strengthen your agni.
Is there anything Ayurveda to improve the memory as I'm getting old? My memory is, I'm losing it.
For memory, it's an excellent herb. It's called Brahmi. And it is also, I think, available in Indian store these days. Or otherwise, give me a call. I have excellent herbs for that kind of problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The presentation, appreciate it.
Yeah.
I have a question. Again. He said about the memory.
Yeah.
And, I have heard as a child that badam, almonds help you with your memory. Is that true in Ayurveda?
Yes, yes. But even walnuts are even better because look at the shape of the walnut. It's exactly like our brain.
Yeah, it is.
So like increase like. Ayurveda has a simple concept, like increase like. So kidney beans are good for your kidneys. Walnuts are good for the brain.
Oh, I see.
Grapes are good for your lungs and all that.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Apte, talking of nuts, can
Yes.
nuts be a good snack?
Nuts what?
Can they serve as a good snack, healthy snack?
It is a healthy snack, but what I recommended you that you eat only 3 meals a day. So whatever nuts you want to use, you can make the powder of those nuts and put it in your sabji or your dal or something. Eat it do not eat anything in between. I do not like people eating snacks. Just eat those 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, or eat only 2 meals, lunch and dinner, and that's it.
I'm going to have to change my habit of last 20 years.
So
Try this and you will be surprised at how great you will feel.
if one eats walnuts and badam, how many can they eat maximum?
Generally, if you want to eat just handful or plenty, don't go overboard. And again, nuts, always remember nuts are very heating. So
Right.
don't eat during summertime, eat during fall, winter time when the season is cold. And if you have pitta in you, the fire in you already very high, then you need to limit those nuts.
Is there a difference if you eat soaked almonds versus dry almonds?
Yeah, soaked almonds are always better.
Always better.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So thank you very much. I hope you learned something new. And if you are interested in any topic, then tell it to Shri, and I'll be glad to give a seminar. I also give a seminar series, Golden Health in Golden Years for senior people. That's my social service. So if you are interested, send me the email and I will add you in my database and let you know when next time I'm going to offer that.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you so much.
And
Okay.
namaste.
It was a
Very nice.
beautiful
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.